Yeah. About it, you know.
They all say that purple satchel is worth the paper it's written on. Oh, wow.
It was
Give you
amazing.
money.
It was, I came out. I'll call the meeting of the McHenry County Zoning Board of Appeals to order. The reason for our hearing today is application 2024-024. The applicant is Doty Road Solar LLC, and the request is for a conditional use permit to allow for a commercial solar energy facility. The address is at 4115 Doty Road, Woodstock. The property consists of approximately 20 acres and is located on the west side of Doty Road, approximately 2,200 feet north of the intersection of Lucas Road and Doty Road in Door Township, Illinois. There are two property identification numbers for this application. They are 13-27-200-002 and 13-27-200-023. At this time, I'll have the board members introduce themselves and the township in which they reside, starting to my left. Ms. Donner?
Mary Donner, Greenwood Township.
Robert Cozen, Algonquin Township.
Charlie Eldridge, Richmond Township.
I'm Linnea Kustra, Alden Township.
Vicki Gardner, Nunda Township.
Kurt Schnabel, Riley Township.
Thomas Jers, Coral Township.
This petition has been reviewed and the following items have been received prior to today's scheduled hearing. The publisher's certificate of publication from the newspaper is dated April 24, 2024, and thereby meets ordinance requirements. The affidavit of posting was signed and the date posted was April 30th, 2024. The affidavit of mailing was signed and the date mailed was April 22, 2024, thereby meeting ordinance requirements. The survey has been checked against the petition, legal notice, and publication in the newspaper, and all three match. The filing fees have been paid, the endangered species consultation has been received, and the McHenry County Soil and Water Conservation District report has been received. This would be NRI number 24-029-4585. For those who've never attended a hearing before, I just want to explain a little bit how this works. The petitioner will present their case. I'm sure they'll have a presentation that the public can see as well as the board. Then the board will ask them questions based on their testimony, and then staff has the opportunity to ask questions, and then any member of the public, you'll each have 3 minutes if you'd like to take advantage of that to ask questions based on their testimony. After that, the staff will give us their report, and at the conclusion of the hearing, you'll each have 3 minutes if you want to make a statement. So the first portion is if you have questions. That would be only questions, and at the end, it would be a statement on the petition. When you come up to speak, you'll have to give your name and address, and if you want to speak, you'll be sworn in now. So anyone who will be asking questions or giving any testimony today, please raise your right hand to be sworn in. That includes any member of the public that's going to ask questions. If you're going to do that, now would be the time. Do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay. All right, we'll just turn it over to the petitioner then for your presentation.
Great. Would you like me to stand anywhere?
No, you're fine right there.
Okay. Do you guys want handouts of this presentation? Or?
Sure, that'd be great.
What do you think?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right. I'm just going to introduce myself. My name is Matt Kwiatkowski. I'm with Nexam, who's the parent company for Doty Road Solar LLC. With me, I have my attorney, Jim Griffin, and Jim Coyle, who works for Atwell, who's our engineer of record. Just to introduce the project, did a good job introducing it. It is a 1.8 megawatt community solar facility, and we've applied for a conditional use permit. Just to give you a little background about Nexam, We were founded in 2007 by 2 Army veterans. Since 2007, we've grown exponentially. We not only develop these projects, but we own and operate them as well. So it's, it's the same company from the minute the lease is signed all the way to decommissioning. We have over 475 employees today. We were voted #1 community solar company in 2023 by Solar Power World magazine. And last year, we just completed the largest domestic module purchase in community solar history in Helene in Minnesota. We purchased 1.5 gigawatts worth of panels, and that ensures that we're buying domestically as well as our supply chain is ready, can be ready to go to construction quickly. Specific to Illinois, we've got projects all the way from Maine out to Hawaii, but we have a lot in Illinois. We actually started to build out our team in 2018, and now we have over 80 employees statewide, and currently building or operating 20+ projects statewide with 30 more in development. Our operation assets serve over 5,000 residents and small businesses in Illinois. Those are folks that subscribe to our projects to save on their utility bills. We've actually got a few here in McHenry County. This is OE, Illinois Solar 1 and 2. Solar 1 is up in Woodstock, and then the Solar 2 is in Marengo. They're both 2.9 megawatts each, and they serve nearly 400 subscribers each. And then we've got one down in Harvard, or over in Harvard, on Alden Road, and it's 10 acres. 2.5 megawatts and serves nearly 350 subscribers. Just to give you a little, this kind of overview map of where the site's located. It is located on the 2 parcels between Memorial Drive, just south of the hospital, and Lucas Road along Doty Road. It'll be on the west side of Doty Road. And then more specifically, here we're outlining in red the 2 parcels, and then the yellow is the approximate fence boundary. So the location's 4115 Doty Road, Zone A1. The parcels are 13-27-200-023 and 022. Owners are Joseph and Teresa Kolanowski. Parcel size is approximately 20 acres, but within the fence, what's shown in yellow there, it's only 8.5 acres. The capacity is 1.8 megawatts, which is one of the smaller ones we do with community solar. You can go up to 5. It's as few as 1. So this is a smaller project. And then project life is 30 to 40 years. And just to highlight some of the benefits for the community, there's environmental benefits, temporary use of farmland. We do have an agreement with the Department of Agriculture, an AMA agreement, that ensures we protect, preserve farmland during construction, during operation, decommissioning. Increase in domestic energy production, stabilizes the grid and cost of electricity. And for this particular project, we're estimating over 250 subscribers can subscribe to it and save on their utility bill. And it adds to the tax base without adding demand for public services. The tax, solar's tax per megawatt, it'll be more than what's the taxes coming in off farmland. And it will, once it's constructed, it's very quiet. We don't have any impact on like schools, roads, parks. And then due diligence. We've completed a variety of things to date. We selected the site and executed a lease with the landlord. Done a survey, had pre-application discussion with the county prior to submitting our conditional use permit. We've done utility studies, so we've got an interconnection agreement with ComEd to connect to the grid. So it's a real project. We've consulted with the State Historic Preservation Office, endangered species. We've done a wetland delineation. We consulted with the Federal Aviation Administration, make sure that there's no obstructions. We've done an NRI. Like I said, we've executed that agriculture impact mitigation agreement with the state. And then we've done a drain tile study. And then I'll hand it over to my engineer, Jim, here, to talk specifically about the site plan.
Hi, Jim Coyle, Atwell, civil engineer.
As you can see on the screen there, the layout for the Doty Road Solar. The way it was laid out was we met or exceeded all the county requirements for setbacks, as noted in that chart down at the bottom there. There's 50-foot minimum off the property lines and a minimum of 150 from non-participating residents. The electrical system, once it receives the energy from the panels, will be running underground out towards the entrance of Doty Road, where we'll go up to the interconnection poles and connect into the grid and into the power system. The proposed access is off of Doty Road. As you can see, it's 20-foot wide access road in Door Township. We will work with the township for the permit on that at the time when we go to construction. For you now is the same layout with the landscape plan. Because of the solar, since if there's non-participating residents within 500 feet, we have provided screening along the west, south, and east side of the array. Within the array, it will be planted with the native pollinator mix, which will promote infiltration and then reduce runoff. Because of how dense the seed mix will be, it'll provide less runoff in comparison to row crops. The site will be surrounded by an 8-foot fence, so welded wire mesh fence with wood posts. Any areas outside of the array that's not a pollinator mix will just be stabilized with temporary seed that can be farmed again. This is a picture showing from Doty Road, approximately where the entrance will enter into the site. And then this is a shot from the road that shows the residents, and you can see that most of the array will be screened naturally by the existing vegetation that is there today. That's all we have for the presentation.
You've covered a lot of the principal use standards in our ordinance, but there's some that you haven't. If you would just go to, in the packet, it would be page, starts in the bottom, page 4, but it's really page 5 that you need to address. I mean, you talked about the setbacks and the height and everything, but and you talked about the seed mix and the fencing. But there's lighting, solar the panels themselves, I mean, all those things, the safety issues, the abandonment issues. Would you just kind of go through those so that we know they've all been addressed?
Yeah, there's no lighting issues with associated with this development.
There's no lighting proposed.
There's no lighting proposed. Okay, those are all the things. You know, if you haven't addressed them already, if you just read them yourself, and then if you haven't addressed them, just.
Yeah.
Solar panel structures, electrical equipment, excluding fences, connection shall be erected no less than 50 feet, which is what we discussed in the presentation, and a minimum 150 feet from any non-participating residents. Those structures excluding power lines for interconnection may exceed 20 feet in height. The panels will be less than 20 feet in height for this proposed array. There is no lighting associated with this solar system. Solar panels shall have a surface that minimizes glare and shall comply with the lighting and glare standards. Yes?
Yeah, our panels have an anti-glare coating as well. We've done a glare
The facility shall be situated to minimize impacts of woodlands, savannas, wetlands, and flood areas. All site development shall comply with stormwater management ordinances, which we will, at the time of construction, we will submit plans that prove that we will meet the stormwater ordinance of the county. In order to prevent erosion, manage runoff, and provide ecological benefits, the facility shall be plunge with low profile native prairie mix, which is noted in the presentation.
On that note, you mentioned we're not only going to plant in the array, but we're also working with the landowner with the residual.
Would you speak louder? Members of the public are having
Yeah, I
trouble
don't
hearing you.
hear anything you're saying at all.
Okay. With
I mean,
the
we can move closer.
Yeah, why don't you move up as well, but yeah, I'll have them speak a little louder.
with the pollinators, they're not only going to be planted inside the fence, but because of his negative lease area, the part we're not leasing, it's going to be so small. If he doesn't want to farm it, we're going to plant the whole site in pollinators. So.
Fencing shall be provided in compliance with the National Electrical Code.
Kim, can you bring up the standards so the public can see them as we're going through them?
Yep.
Thank you. Which one are we on? Okay, so we're down below that now. We've got, there we
Down at the
go.
bottom of H.
Okay. Okay, we got H there, so go ahead.
Yeah, fencing shall be provided in accordance with the National Electrical Code, which we mentioned is 7-foot fence.
What type of fence?
It's a
It's a
8-foot.
proposing a welded wire mesh fence with wood posts, just because they blend into the agrarian kind of landscape better than the chain link fence.
It's like a farm,
A
like
farm
woven
fence.
wire fence?
Yes.
Okay, that's what we prefer.
Any part of the facility that is within 500 feet of non-participating residents or right-of-way shall be landscaped with an arrangement of native shrubs, subject to approval by the county board. That second landscape slide that had the green highlighted area illustrated that, and we are meeting that requirement for anybody within 500 feet and from the right-of-way. And then prior to permit issuance, the operator shall prepare a landscape monitoring and maintenance plan to ensure the establishment of continued maintenance of a native prairie species, all installed landscape screening, and all existing vegetation that provides required landscape screening. Yes, we will comply with that. Prior to construction, scheduled public hearing, the operator shall enter into an agricultural.
You've already done that.
We've
You told us
got
you've
that.
already done that.
Matt discussed that. Prior to building issuance, the operator shall provide an executed road use agreement between the applicant and the appropriate governing highway jurisdiction or the Illinois Department of Transportation. We're going to
You
apply for
addressed
that
that as
permit.
well?
Yep. Safety. Prior to construction, the operator shall prepare an emergency management plan acceptable to the county, and local fire districts shall be responsible for training of emergency personnel as needed, which that's all part of the, once we go to construction. A sign shall be posted providing the name of the operator and a phone number to be used in case of an on-site emergency. That's part of the details for the, at the entrance and then along, part of our CUP submittal. There is signage provided. Access shall be granted, provided appropriate advance notice for periodic inspection of the site by the county or the local fire districts. That would be that. Damaged solar panels shall be removed, repaired, or replaced within 60 days of the damage. The ground shall remain free of debris from damaged solar panels at all times. It's remotely monitored, and if there is, there'll be regular inspections, and any damage would be noticed, and they'll be out there to fix it to obviously improve the efficiency of the system. Abandonment. The commercial solar energy facility shall be considered abandoned if the operator fails to pay rent as specified. Understood? The AMA agreement, we went through that already. Or any agricultural impact mitigation agreement, or it ceases to generate electricity for a period of 12 consecutive months. Reports of electric power production shall be provided to the county upon request. Yes, an abandoned commercial solar energy facility must be decommissioned and removed within 12 months from the time of it deemed abandoned, the operator may appeal in writing to the zoning enforcement officer for an extension of time in order to remove the facility or to bring the solar farm back into existence. So as part of the AMA agreement, we will be providing a decommissioning plan as well as an estimate for the complete removal of all the facilities and the wiring. That's part of the agreement with the AMA.
Yeah, and number 5, decommissioning, those are the requirements that are also in the AMA agreement. And so we've already agreed with the Department of Ag to meet those requirements, and we'll certainly post the bond with the county for the decommissioning as required under the AMA and under your ordinance.
Okay, good. Okay, well, thank you for
That's all.
covering all that.
Well, thank
That's
you.
all of it, right?
Okay, we'll start with questions then, starting on my left, Ms. Dunning.
I have no questions at this time.
Mr. Cozen, sorry.
Thank you. On the site plan, there are references to a number of gates, both on the west and north side. And I was just wondering for the logic behind that, especially since access was an issue that you have recently addressed.
Well, as part of the National Electrical Code Act, the array needs to be completely enclosed in a minimum of 6-foot fence. But we're providing an 8-foot fence, and this just provides for the maintenance and inspections, the man gates, and then obviously the 20-foot wide gates along the access road to go in, monitor, maintain, and inspect the sites.
I surmised as much, but there is no access road to the westernmost double gate, nor is there a double gate along the northern fence, but just a personnel gate. And is this person, Kitty? I just was thinking of the logic.
That's kind of our design standard. It's for snow removal in the back.
Okay.
So it's just another access to get a way to get snow if there's a lot of snow.
And then following along that logic, the power pad is on what I'll call the westernmost array, yet there is need to access with the eastern array. Why was not the power pad placed on the eastern array closer to the ComEd interconnect?
It's more of a centralized location, which will provide less impact to adjacent non-participating areas, and probably system efficiencies before. Where there's more panels, then it just provides more efficiency for the.
And just to give you a little background, what you might be wondering why it is in 2 sections. There's a fiber optic line that runs through the site there, so we don't want to encumber that.
Before we get to that, to get to that central pad, one must pass through 3 sets of gates.
Correct.
That's not an impediment, or you don't see any logic for the driver to get out, lock, get out, lock.
No.
Then, is that fiber optic an easement, hence the established width, as opposed to some defined separation?
There was no, it has been surveyed and it was found to be in that location, but the overall width has not been determined. So we just kept separation, obviously, from the array from that area. We also do not reveal a designated width on the easement, so we're just providing the separation between the panels and that line.
And then is this facility remotely monitored?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
We've got operations center that's 24/7.
That concludes my questions.
Mr. Roderick,
I have no questions.
Ms. Gardner.
We received 2 site plans for this site, and I'm confused about which one is the real one, or is there showing 2 different things, or what's happening with these?
So this is the site, what we would call the site layout plan that delineated the setbacks off the property and in between the arrays and the fence. And this is what we consider the landscape plan, and even though it wasn't highlighted, that's why Matt had the presentation where it was highlighted in green to show the screening.
So this is the one that you had on screen, this is 2 layers of it, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Now, can you tell me where the inverters will be located on the site?
Near the equipment pad.
In the
The
center?
the final design of will be, but that's the intent right now, when this final design, it will be near that equipment pad area that was just talked about.
In the center of
They're
the
right
site?
there.
Right there, right,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so they're far away from any residences or anything?
Yes,
Okay.
centralized as well.
And just to verify, you said there's gonna be no lighting on the property at all? Okay. Even on those gates that you have to get through to get to?
Yeah, no.
Okay. Now, there are residents that exist on the site. Are those people staying there?
Yes,
Oh.
they're actually.
Gotcha. Okay. And have you spoken to the neighbors surrounding your site?
I've spoken to the neighbor to the south a couple weeks back. Sat down.
He's right here.
Yep. Gary, I spoke with him because he's closest to the project. I did do a FedEx mailing explaining the project to the neighbor to the west. My contact information and stuff, and just got contacted.
Okay. So you're planning on sticking with this particular layout?
Yes.
Okay, I think that's all I have for now. Thank you.
Mr. Schnabel?
I've got a few questions. Number one, did I hear correctly that drain tile study has already been completed?
Yes.
Can you give us a synopsis of the findings? Because that's very unusual.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we've ever heard a presenter that already had their
I was thinking the same thing, Kurt.
There's 2
Survey
tiles
done.
that run this way.
So they're running east-west,
Yeah.
most of them?
And they're shown.
Just curious about the results very much. If this board could have a copy of that at some point, that would be fascinating.
They're on the 2 lines are on the plan there as well, running in kind of a diagonal location, and they were located in conjunction with the location of the fiber optic and telephone lines as well, just to verify that location.
That's part of my question as well. So you only have basically 4 drain tiles,
Well, there's 2 that are located at the crossing here.
east-west, basically?
Yeah, and the 2 lines running north-south are the telecommunication lines.
Okay.
They're buried.
The second part of my question, which I wasn't going to ask until I heard about the fiber optic cable, was can you tell me the approximate depth of the cable versus the depth of the drain tiles? And is there any possibility the people that laid the fiber could have damaged the drain tiles that we are now trying to make you responsible for?
No, I would say no, because if there was, these cables have been here for a while, and if the drain tile would have been disturbed, it would have been, somebody would have known by now. So these, I don't know what the history is on the laying of the fiber optic cables, but if they would have hit the drain tile, somebody would have known by now, because it seems like they've been there for quite a few years.
Yeah, if I was the project manager, that's the one thing I'd be a little curious about myself. All right, we'll move on, thank you. Simple question, just in point of reference to all of the other projects that we hear, will you or will you not be using bifacial modules?
They are bifacial, yeah.
That seems consistent with
Yeah.
what we're hearing
That's
elsewhere.
kind of like where,
And my last question, very general. You mentioned Solar 2 in Marengo. Has that been constructed yet?
yes.
And can you tell me the approximate location as to where it is?
I could, yeah. Do you mind if I whip out my computer?
Not at all. You remember the main road that it's on? Is it like Garden Prairie Road or State Highway?
Is that the one on Seaman
I believe, yeah. That sounds familiar, but I'll verify.
Check.
It was a channel project, which means we didn't develop it. We bought it from another developer. but we own and operate it. We constructed it and own and operate it.
I thought that would be an easy question.
Sorry, it's the Wi-Fi.
It's the Wi-Fi.
Oh, it's the Wi-Fi issue.
I got it now.
The state's attorney said we're not supposed to address these first first. So that's why we've stopped.
It's off Pleasant Grove Road. Intersection just west of Pleasant Grove Road and Meyer Road.
And Meyer Road, yes, I'm familiar with that location. That's been there for some time now.
Yeah, it's-
That was the only, I've lived in Marengo for over 30 years, and that's the only one that I could even think of.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
So,
that's been, yeah.
You got the award
for
for
project.
Marengo projects at this point. Thank you very much. Mr. Juris.
No questions.
Okay, and my only question was, are you removing any trees?
No,
I
no.
didn't think so, looking at your site plan, but I know the IDNR had some concerns if you were removing trees, when they should be done, you know,
Yeah.
what time of year, so.
There's the property owner, the Kolonowski stuff and trees, just east of that first array, but we're not removing them.
Okay. Okay, that was my only question. Oh, go ahead.
Back to that drain tile, who was the contractor who identified the tiles?
It was either Pinion or we use Huddleston McBride as well.
Thank you.
Staff, do you have any questions?
I have no question.
Does any member of the public have any questions?
Are you gonna regrade the entire property that you're?
Were you sworn in, sir? Were you sworn in? I didn't see you raise your
Oh, I'm
hand.
sorry.
Sworn in. Okay, do
I
you
wanted to hear
affirm,
what they had to
do you
say.
affirm that the
I know
testimony
the
you give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay, your name and address, and go ahead with your
Scott Cook,
questions.
I live at 10618 Lucas Road, Woodstock. And I border the west side of, every time it rains, just like the other day when we had 2.5 inches of rain, that property of his floods onto my property. I'm just wondering, and I have it controlled so that it goes across from one side to the north. That said, are you going to regrade?
No, the idea is that with the posts and the racking systems, that there's no regrading that needs to be completed. We're going to match the existing grade and install the panels for the post-driven supports, so there wouldn't be any need for any mass grading.
But your reseeding of the pollinators, that would take 3 to 5 years for that all to establish itself.
Yeah, in terms of seeing all the variety, but.
I used to do that, so I know how long it takes.
Yeah, it does to get all the different seeds to
Right,
germinate.
would you initially plant some ryegrass
Yeah,
or
it'll be
prairie
part-
grass to
it'll be-
keep, to establish the grit?
Yeah.
So it's not all mud, that's what I'm
Yes.
asking.
And as part of the development is, for the construction of the access road and for the other areas of disturbance, we're going to get a permit through the state of Illinois for NPDES for erosion control. And as a stipulation for that permit and to get a notice of termination, we have to prove that we have over 90% stabilization so that the permit can be released. And until such time as the permit is released, it'll be monitored and made sure that, you know, there isn't areas of erosion. If there was, they need to be repaired and seeded and stabilized.
So in the interim, until the grass is established, would they put silt fence or something?
Typically, yes, that's a silt fence or filter sock will be installed
Okay,
as part of
right.
our erosion control permit.
Okay, thank you.
And that's not removed until you get the NMT or
Yeah,
notice of
until
term.
it's fully.
And which way would the panels be facing? To the west?
They're aligned north-south, and they've got, so they're tractor panels, so they'll move with the sun throughout the day. So in the morning, they'll be facing east, and then they'll slowly move, and then, you know, in the evening, facing west.
Okay, but the rows you have are from north to south. How do they move?
Basically, the rack is laid north to south, and the panel sits on top,
Yes?
and then it,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Is there noise that we would hear?
No.
Of any kind?
If you
Humming
get,
or-
if you get close, the inverter makes noise, but that's why we put them in the center of the site, so there's no residual noise at the.
And what would it
boundary.
compare to? What, the noise,
The
what would it
household
compare?
appliance, like a humming of a household appliance.
Like a household
So
appliance?
so if we were out entertaining, we wouldn't hear the
No, not where it's located. Now, if you're up against the fence in that second array, you'll hear it. You know, like you're trying to enter that second
But
array.
I've got trees all the way,
Yeah.
as you notice, yeah. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes,
Can I ask one more question? Excuse me, I don't know why I can't talk. Everybody's happy that I can't talk, but it's okay. 20-foot arrays, what does that mean?
The max height is
Yeah,
20
yeah.
feet.
So do you have something that's taller than here?
On this particular one, this is it's complicated. Sometimes we lay them in two portraits, so there's two panels.
Okay.
And when they're fully tilt, they are about 19 feet. These are proposed now as single panels, so they'll only be like 12 feet.
Okay, that's what I was
Yeah. Not
checking.
the double.
Thank you very much.
Okay, this time we'll take testimony from the staff. Give us the report, Ms. Charlo.
So the property is zoned A1 Agriculture District and is also surrounded by A1 Agriculture District. There is a conditional use permit on the property to the south, and that is for storage of commercial vehicles and equipment that is set to expire in 2026. The surrounding land use is agricultural to the east, west, and north, and then single-family residential to the south. The future land use designation for this entire area is residential. I had some photos of the site there just to show the existing vegetation. The applicants have provided on their site plan sufficient vegetation against all of the other neighboring properties. I believe all of the state standards and county UDO standards have been met for this project.
Does anybody have questions for Tim?
Was any comment received from any nearby adjoining municipality?
No, I have not received any comments.
Anything from the township?
No.
Okay. All right, at this time, if anyone from the public would like to make a comment, you could do that. Does anybody want to make a comment on this proposal? Okay, then we'll just let you, if you have a closing statement, sir.
Well, I appreciate the time and being able to present this project. We're really excited about it. To add our portfolio projects in not only McHenry County, but you know, the Chicagoland, Illinois area. So appreciate your time hearing us today.
I would say that I am a subscriber to the Alden Road project.
Are
I
you?
have to put that out there. And I like saving on electricity, that's for sure. So at this time, we'll close the hearing portion of the meeting and we'll move on to the voting portion of the meeting. Again, this is petition 2024-024, Doty Road Solar LLC. Request for a conditional use permit to allow for a commercial solar energy facility. We have some proposed conditions by staff. Number 1, the conditional use shall have no time limit unless the use is abandoned as specified in 16.56.030.pp.4 of the McHenry County Unified Development Ordinance. Number 2, site development shall be in substantial conformance with the site plan prepared by Nexamp, dated March 29, 2024, and received by the Department of Planning and Development on April 9, 2024. Number 3, the decommissioning plan shall be applicable in part as well as in whole if any portion of the commercial solar energy facility ceases to perform its intended function for more than 12 consecutive months. That portion of the facility shall be decommissioned in compliance with all the terms of the decommissioning plan. Number 4, a McHenry County stormwater management permit shall be secured prior to construction. Any damaged drainage tile shall be repaired at the expense of the petitioner and in a manner satisfactory to the Water Resources Division Manager. Number 5, a detailed landscape plan illustrating compliance with required landscape screening standards and Illinois Department of Natural Resources pollinator scorecard standards and land management practices shall be approved by the zoning enforcement officer prior to issuance of a construction/building permit. Number 6, fencing shall be provided in compliance with the National Electrical Code as applicable. The use of barbed wire is prohibited. Setting fence posts in concrete is prohibited except for gate posts and where otherwise required for stability. Number 7, recommendations made by the Illinois Department of Natural Resources in their October 17, 2023 letter to the applicants with regard to protected resources in the vicinity of the project location shall be followed. Number 8, all requirements of McHenry County Unified Development Ordinance 16.56.030.pp as amended, subject to State of Illinois Public Act 102-1123 and Public Act 103-0580, shall be met or exceeded unless specifically amended by this conditional use permit. And finally, number 9, all other federal, state, and local laws shall be met. Are there any other proposed conditions?
Madam Chairman, I propose approval of the conditions as presented.
It's been moved by Mr. Eldridge. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Gardner. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. Mr. Eldridge?
Yes.
Ms. Gardner?
Yes.
Mr. Cozen?
Yes.
Mr. Schnabel?
Yes.
Mr. Jers?
Yes.
Ms. Donner?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. The conditions are approved 7-0. This time I would entertain a request.
Madam Chairman, I propose acceptance of the petition subject to the conditions.
Now second.
Discussion, Mr. Eldridge.
Yes, this is a 20-acre parcel on Doty Road between Route 14 and Lucas Road. It's an area that is entirely zoned A1 agricultural. It has a fair number of residences on small A1 parcels, but is still largely, in the area around us, is largely agricultural. The particular site is somewhat isolated from any extensive surrounding residential and certainly from any intensive residential of any kind. It is under state law, if they meet the standards set forth in the state law, we must vote in favor in any case. But I think this is a reasonable location for this kind of facility. And so I am quite enthusiastically supporting this petition. And I shall vote yes.
Okay, Ms. Gardner.
Yeah, there's 3 points I wanted to bring up. First of all, I thank you for your presentation. I think that you put together a pretty thoughtful plan here. I appreciate that this is going to be owned and operated by you. That's kind of a big thing. We don't hear that very often. So many times these places are sold off to somebody else, and all the promises made here are kind of out the window. Or all the, not promises, but, I'm also happy to hear that all the wiring is going to be underground. That's another plus. And that the converters are all centralized in the center of the site. That's really a big one, because a lot of companies come in and they have inverters all around the edges of their site. And even though it's a low hum that you can barely hear, it's still there. It's still within neighbors' earshot. So I am in favor of this project. I think it's a good site for it, and I will vote in favor.
Mr. Cozen.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I too recognize the thoroughness and the completeness of the submissions, as well as the detail by which they have been given, notwithstanding the nomenclature of a storm sewer as opposed to a drainage tile. But nonetheless, I will be supporting this petition.
Mr. Schnabel.
I agree with what's been said. I thought your presentation, compared to most, was, I'll just say, crisp and thorough, and without too much inordinate amount of detail. I will intend to support your petition. Thank you.
Mr. Jers.
Do you know what Kurt just said?
Ms. Donner.
I want to thank the veterans for having forward thinking and looking to see what we can do. And you've been serving for so long, and now you're still going to be serving with us. I appreciate that, and will extend my yes.
And I agree with the comments. I want to also add that this is in a strategic aquifer recharge area, and I think a solar farm in that area with the ability to filter the water, save water on the site, and then recharge the groundwater. I think this is, a really good place for it. So I'm in favor of the request. So I will call for the vote. Mr. Eldridge?
Yes.
Ms. Gardner?
Yes.
Mr. Cozen?
Yes.
Mr. Schnabel?
Yes.
Mr. Jers?
Yes.
Ms. Donner?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes, so this will go to the county board with a 7-0 vote approving. This time the hearing's closed. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Better than yesterday.
Oh, yeah.